What is the difference between prayer and meditation? And is one better than the other to practice? Do you have to choose one over the other for whatever religion that you follow? These questions are inspired by somebody who commented on my previous video. And I think this is an awesome idea to cover, and I'm super excited to talk about it. As always, I'm sure that there are different people that have different opinions and ways that they use this in their own life. So if you do, awesome. This is just my personal take on it. So if you would like some clarification on that based on the spiritual practices that you know that I follow, and if you'd like to try these out for yourself, go for it. Personally, the difference that I see between the two, what is the true difference between prayer and meditation? The way that I see it is like prayer is more so like a direct line to one specific entity. I would typically call God. You might have a different name, or you might have a different, entity that you might reach out to. But prayer to me is like a direct phone call. Like you're only focused on one specific conversation. So when I'm in prayer, I'm reaching out specifically to God, and it's like a conversation. And some people like to have this conversation out loud, and some people like to have it in their own head. Personally, I typically just do it inside my own head. I don't usually speak out loud just because, it's just my personal preference. I don't think that either one is necessarily better or worse. It doesn't really matter. It's whatever feels good to you. To me, like, the physical speaking of the words is extra. So if that feels good to you, then that's cool, but it's not like essential, because spirits are not physical. And God is not physical. God is an energy essence, and so words are not required. Only in physical life do we require words for communication, and even then sometimes they're optional, but that's a different conversation. So yeah, words are not required. Any physical operation is not required. So like there's no specific position you have to be in. You don't necessarily like have to put your hands together in prayer. Like that feels good, and sometimes I do that just because it feels good, but it's not like a requirement. It's simply a state of mind. It's simply reaching out, opening that line of communication and speaking. And for me personally, when I'm in prayer, it's like a very personal thing. It's like, again, that direct line of like, there's a specific reason usually that we're talking, like something that we want to sort out together, something that I need from him, something that I want help with, or just to discuss, or just to connect for whatever reason. And it's that one-on-one communication. He'll usually give me some sort of direction or comfort. And I've talked about this in other videos, but like when I speak in prayer with him, it's not really words, and so that's why the speaking is optional. Like on my part, it's said in words because I'm currently existing in my human timeline, and therefore my perspective is limited, and so my best route for communication is through words. And so when I think in words, obviously, because I'm human. But when God speaks back to me, it's not always in words. Like oftentimes it's more so like in feelings, like emotions, sensations, sometimes visuals, but for me more so it's like feelings. And sometimes there are like a couple words that translate through those feelings that help give me like a better human perspective of how to bring it back down into my practical existence here in physicality. But yeah, that's sort of like what prayer is to me, the direct line to a single form of communication. And typically there's like a reason for it. There doesn't have to be. You can just reach out simply just because, but for me personally, there's usually like a reason. Even if it's just the reason is comfort or connection, that's the purpose. Because like if you think about when you call someone on the phone, usually you have a reason to call, right? So that's the way I think of it. But anyways, moving on to meditation. This is similar, but has its differences, because when I'm in meditation, I'm not necessarily doing it for a specific purpose. Oftentimes that purpose is just relaxation, like rebalancing, resetting my mind and body. But in general, like there isn't like a direct question. I'm not looking to speak to a certain person. I'm not looking for like a certain directive. It's more so, I'm sorry, it's a little loud. It's more so like opening yourself up to new possibilities, opening yourself up to that like relaxation, to a specific like state of mind. And there are also like so many different forms of meditation as well. And so this will differ so much depending on the person and what it is that you're looking to achieve and what you personally like to practice. But in general, like the most universal way I can describe it, it's more so like a relaxation of the mind. So if you watched one of our recent videos, what's it called? It's called It All Makes Sense, that's where we talk about like the balance between the mind, body, and spirit and what that connection really is. And so it's very useful we're talking about this after that one. Everything works out in line without even trying. But yeah, so the mind, if we recall from that video, the mind is like the connector piece between the body and the spirit. So like when you're having conversations with God, like we said, like he doesn't speak in words because it's more like that direct line. So when I'm in meditation, it's more so like eliminating the limitations of the mind. So like that's why if you've ever heard people say like meditation is about clearing your mind, and for me that was so hard. That was so hard for me to understand and to like learn how to do, because like I'm always thinking a million miles a minute. I'm thinking of so many things, and it's a very, very difficult thing to describe to someone if you have not experienced it. Telling someone to clear your mind, like that never worked for me. It was always difficult to understand that. But I guess the way that I see it now, I more so like relax the mind and help it get out of its own way. So it's not that like you're not allowed to think of anything. Because the moment someone tells you to stop thinking of things, all you're going to do is start thinking of a million things, right? And that's the problem I would always have of like, oh, clear your mind, don't think of anything. And what do? I immediately start thinking of all the things I'm not supposed to think about. So instead, what I like to do is like relax my mind. So like if you start thinking of other things, don't punish yourself for it. Allow yourself to flow through that. And be okay with thoughts, but know that they're temporary. Know that there's no directive. Allowing yourself to be empty of directive helped me to get into that like clear space. So the purpose of like meditation is like opening yourself up so that those limiting thoughts of the mind that we spoke about before are eliminated, at least in large part. And so instead of having like the mediator between the spirit and the body, like the one that makes sense of things, that goes away. And so instead you get like that direct line of communication. Except the difference is that like we're not looking for a specific entity. We're not looking to speak directly to God necessarily. It's not off limits, but it's not the directive. So the purpose is more so to free your mind. to experience what full relaxation feels like, to experience the soul entirely with the body without any mediator. And it's difficult to describe because it is so abstract, because we don't have the sense maker, the mind, to explain it for us. But it's that full relaxation, and as I mentioned in the last video, like, it's that full existence, because there's no explanation for it, there's no mediator, it just simply is. And that's why we'll often receive like information downloads or visuals in this process, because we are fully open to receive. It's about fully opening yourself to receive whatever is out there. And so, yeah, typically meditation is that, like that open relaxation. Sometimes there's no visuals, sometimes there's nothing. It's just simply relaxation, simply full existence. And that's beautiful in and of itself. But as I said, like, there's so many different forms of meditation. So depending on what you like to practice, like, you might have different ways of doing it. But for me, that's sort of like the universal first step of learning how to fully relax your mind and allow your soul to integrate with your body. And by that I mean, like, allow your soul to communicate with your brain. But another aspect of that is astral projection. So oftentimes, like, it doesn't always have to be this way. It's only if you're like in a specific like state of mind, state of being, does this happen. And it's very, I wouldn't say very different, I guess, but the relaxation of the mind is like the first step to astral projection. So personally, I've had a lot of experience with astral projection and have been doing this basically my whole life, and have been working on like different elements of it and have gotten better at it over time. And so personally, when I'm doing meditation, like, most of the time I do astral project. Not always. There are certain times when my body or mind needs other things, and so we simply enjoy the relaxation aspect. But most of the time for me, I end up entering the astral projection state, which is essentially, once again, that mind getting out of the way and your soul like leaving your body. And so that's like that out-of-body experience. So what happens is, like, you fully allow yourself to become one with your spirit. You almost like do away with the mind and the body. Not entirely, of course, because you're still human, but it's allowing yourself to become fully immersed in the spirit realm. And you literally wander the spirit realm and openly communicate with other energies and just explore that realm. But what's cool about this is that you're not entirely disconnected from your mind and body, for it's like a temporary disconnection. So you're fully immersed in this fully spiritual experience, but you're able to bring pieces of it back with you. So, like, for me personally, I don't like remember everything, every piece of it, and a lot of it is unexplainable because it's a different dimension than this one, and so the mind can't like fully make sense of it when we return. But there are certain elements that are brought back, certain sensations, certain lessons, certain understandings, and just the same as like how conversations with God are, how He'll speak to me in feelings. He'll throw in like translated words or visuals to help my physical mind understand it and bring it back into this reality. And so the same thing will happen to me in like meditation or astral projection, of like certain visuals, certain phrases are translated for you to bring back into this realm. And that is like the forgotten knowledge that you're meant to obtain in this time and place. in order to like carry out whatever your next endeavor is in this physical realm. So even though like I don't know what the directive is when I go into it, like I don't have a specific thing that I'm looking for, what's interesting is that whenever I astral project, I know that my soul knows. So, and that's like a key difference right there too for me. So like meditation, there's no directive. It's simply openness. It's simply relaxation. And I know that going into it that there's nothing more than that. But when I go into astral projection, through mode of meditation, it's like a step-by-step process, I know that there's a directive. However, my body in this timeline does not know what that is. I'm not privy to it. I simply know that I'm meant to explore a specific realm. And so I allow my spirit to go to that realm, retrieve whatever information there is in a form that's downloadable to my physical body in this timeline. And so my soul knows what the directive is, and that's why I'll get like that sensation. And you tell me if you've gotten that before, like you just feel this pull to do this and you don't know why. And that's because like that's your soul guiding you. Like it's time for you to receive this understanding because it's going to help you with this next event that you are meant to encounter in your physical experience. And everything is timed out perfectly. You literally could not have planned it better yourself. And literally when we live in that alignment and follow that intuition, all of those lessons are gained to us at exactly the perfect time. And it's truly incredible once we allow ourselves that freedom of the mind to explore what is needed. Oh, and just to touch on like the question of is the one better than the other, is one better than the other? Is there a reason for it? I don't think that one is better than the other. They're simply different. Just like every human being on this planet, no one is better than the other. We're just different. And they have different purposes. Just like all the different activities that you enjoy in your life. Eating is not necessarily better than sleeping. They're just different. They're both required at different times. But your body tells you when each one is needed. There's a time and a place for everything, and it's just about like listening to that intuition because you already know. That's exactly why we call it the forgotten knowledge, because you already know. You're just not privy to it in this timeline. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Let me know if you guys have similar thoughts, or what perhaps your differences between them might be, what perhaps your experiences and the variances between meditation and prayer. Thanks for listening. I love you.